bring it on. Want some, get some. How about those friggin' Pirates?
Yes, I am a pirate.
You have to go with the Pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're Pirates.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I don't think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
We will get to Omaha. I can promise you that.
And it's purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down of my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome into Sunday on the Sports Objective, as we've got a lot to talk about for the next hour or so. Thank you so much for joining us. A big crowd, I know, are going to be on tonight, watching and listening all over Pirate Nation and beyond, and we appreciate that very much. We got lots to talk about as we'll be talking about the NCAA football game. Some of you have maybe vegged out and played the game all weekend long. It came out on Friday. Some people played it Wednesday, I think, is when a lot of the people that pre-ordered it. So we'll see how that goes. And then obviously we'll talk about that. Tomorrow is the beginning of the AAC Media Days in Texas, the Fort Worth area. So we'll see about that. And there's a lot of storylines there we can talk about. Talk about Pirate Nation and football, as we're just about 2 weeks away, if that, away from the start of fall camp. So as we bring in our good friend Kyle from LaGrange Barber, how are you, man?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on. I got some kind of notification about my browser here. I'm trying to read it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you good?
Yeah, it's telling me my browser has lost connection to my camera, which I did myself. I turned off, so I don't know why it's notifying me of that. But anyway, yeah, what's going on, Dave?
Well, I just have to get your. I didn't get it. Oh, I didn't get your. Sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I also heard Ball and Chain by
Poison.
yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. Sorry, my computer is acting a little crazy. I apologize, folks, but I was trying to. All right, so
let's start off. Welcome into the Sports Objective podcast. I'm Kyle from LaGrange Barber. Alongside me is the host, Dave Richmond from Williamston, North Carolina. Welcome in, everyone.
Yes, thank you. I was going to say, I want to get your thoughts on the NCAA football game. That's one of the things we're going to talk about tonight, and we got other topics. But how is the game? We've been waiting.
Have you played it?
No, I've got to get it, but I haven't gotten it. It's been a busy weekend, man. It's
just download it. Just download it.
I am going to.
It's good. I thought interesting that they have Garcia as the starter over Hauser.
Yeah,
they have him ranked one. Yeah, they have him ranked 1 point higher. Graphics are really good, obviously, compared to the one that came out in 13, which was the last one that came out. It's fun. I like how you can select opponents at different tier levels. So East Carolina is tier 3 in terms of where they're ranked. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So when you play online is what I'm talking about against other people. You can select the opponent at tier 3, at a school that's also ranked tier 3, which makes it a lot more fair. So that's good.
You can't pick Michigan against East Carolina or
well, you
Alabama.
can if you play anybody against any tier, but you can select play at a specific tier, which I've done a few times. I hadn't had a chance to play it a lot. My record right now is 4-3 playing against people, but my 3 losses are to Arkansas, TCU, and Texas. So my 3 losses were all against people playing at a higher tier, and then my wins. I beat BYU, who's tier 2. Guy playing as BYU. I've beaten Rutgers. Army, and UCF. Well, UCF and Rutgers are also tier 3, but just barely.
Wow. And then USF, of course, is supposed to. One of the things we're going to talk about is I'm going to put Kyle on the spot at some point, but I wanted to get your rankings if you just thought about this right before the show. But I want to get Kyle from LaGrange Barber's rankings. If I could give you a ballot, because you are a member of the media, even if you don't want to be, if I could give you a ballot, and I'll let you think on this, Kyle, but I'm going to throw this out to folks that want. If you want to comment on this and give your opinions. But Kyle, if I give you a ballot and I say, I want you to rank the teams in the conference, could you do it? And we'll ask you towards the end of
You
the
mean
show.
order of finish?
Well, yeah, like, who do
1
you
through
think?
14?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be.
I think that would be kind of hard. I think it would be better to do it in tiers. I would say tier 1 would be Memphis, Tulane, UTSA. Then I would say tier 2 would be South Florida, East Carolina.
Okay.
Um, Probably Army, maybe. Um, there's so many damn teams in the league now. You forget people. And I really have to do some research.
UAB.
Well, I need to research UAB. They were up and down. Their offense should be really good. Their offense was good at times last year.
Temple's going to be really bad.
Yeah, Temple would be at the bottom of the league. Navy. I don't think Navy's going to be much better on offense this year. Their defense will be good. Charlotte. Again, I think it'll be good on defense. I don't see much improvement from their offense. But immediately, I think your tier 1 is Tulane, Memphis, UTSA, and then some people want to put South Florida in that tier 1. I'm not ready to do that yet.
They're
I'd
a
put
bubble
them.
team.
I'd put them at tier 2 along with us, and probably UAB. And quite honestly, some schools in the American I need to do a little bit more research on. I got my fill still. I need to get to reading. I need to catch up on some podcasts from other folks that analyze other teams. Um, but anyway, by the way, shout out to Igo, not for his podcast, but he was a guest. I wish I could remember the name of this podcast or YouTube show. But they're a group of 5 YouTube show, and they had Igo on and to preview East Carolina. And I thought they did a good job asking questions, but I thought Igo did a great job representing ECU and really giving in-depth answers on whatever the name of that podcast is. But they do nothing but Group of 5. I wish I could remember the name of it so I could tell people to watch it. I'm not doing much good right now without the name of the show. But if you can find it on YouTube from that vague description, it's worth watching.
All right. And Robert says G5 Beehive.
That's it. That's it. I believe that is it, Robert. If you watched it, yeah, he probably watched it and agrees that Igo did a great job on it.
All right. So G5
That
Beehive.
sounds right. That sounds right.
All right. Thank you, Robert, as always, for listening and watching. We've been doing great on these Sunday shows, so we'll try to keep those up. And Kyle, man, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to. I'm glad you reminded me of 2. I got to do 2 things this week. My homework. I'm glad you reminded me. I was going to do that last week, but I'll try to do that tonight. Get my feel still. I'm going to do both. I like the digital version and the in-hand version.
Yeah, I got both. I don't know if they're still doing it, but when I ordered mine back in June, if you ordered the traditional paper version, you got the digital version for free. And you pay $20 for the digital version. So the only difference is you have to pay shipping for the paper. But if you want the paper version, like I said, I don't know if they're still doing it. You get at that time you were getting the digital version for free, which I think for most people the paper version is more convenient. But for me, with my vision, I actually love having it on a tablet or a phone so I can zoom in as much as I want.
Right.
Because if you buy Phil Steele, best damn reading glasses in the world, man. That book is so full of information. The print is so small.
Yeah.
So, but Phil, as we talked about, on previous episodes, has us as the most improved team in the country in his most improved teams list. And all 6 of his sets of power rankings call for us to go to a bowl, and one calls us calls for us to go 10-2. So hopefully that particular computer is correct.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. But I definitely think we're in much better shape. And then, I was looking at before the show, getting ready for the show for the last couple hours, just hard to stomach 1-7 in the league. And that's something we're going to talk about is to the AAC media days. One thing that comes to mind, if you want to talk about that now, Kyle, is looking at
It'll be
having
interesting to see where we'll be picked to finish tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I can the media typically, I would expect Tulane or Memphis to be picked to win the league.
Right.
Your top four is going to be Tulane, Memphis, South Florida, UTSA. You can pick your order of finish, but it'll be interesting to see who they have fifth. Is it a UAB? Is it us? Is it Tulsa? Army maybe. It'll be interesting to see who they have fifth. That's really. I would expect us not to be picked any lower than seventh, but I wouldn't expect us to be picked any higher than fifth. But again, keep in mind we do not play Memphis, Tulane, or South Florida, so it wouldn't surprise me if the defense is going to be good, if the offense clicks early, if the quarterback situation becomes apparent that we have our starter Garcia or Hauser, if JDB's offense clicks early, because of not playing Memphis, Tulane, South Florida, we get UTSA at home. I could see us sneaking into finishing second in the regular season and sneaking into that conference championship game. It wouldn't shock me. I'm not predicting that, but it would
Right.
not shock me because keep in mind, I wish there were divisions. There's not, but you got to finish second in the league. You don't have to win the league to play in the conference championship game. You don't have to win your division. You just have to finish second. And with us missing three of the better teams in the conference, wouldn't shock me at all.
I think that, and if people wonder why I'm so bullish, it's not optimism, because blind optimism, I think, is what people have said in the past about me here on the show. It's not because I love the Pirates. I just really believe the job that Houston and company have done in the offseason, first by Houston hiring JDB, the fact that we have there's just so many things I think that we have going for us. And then with the scheduling gods, we usually have everything stacked against us. And the fact that we don't play those opponents. And I will say this, Kyle, we've talked about it before, but we talked about a winning season is what Houston needs. But if he has a losing season with those people that we don't even play,
he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, and I think even at 6-6, again, I think it depends on how you get to 6-6. We start off 1-5 and then go win 5 in a row and end up 6-6. I think you don't fire him, but I think most people's expectation is 7-5. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. We do catch a break with some conference games, but we do have that 4-game stretch after Norfolk State to start the season. Old Dominion on the road. They were a bowl team last year. Beat App State in Norfolk. Then the very next week we play App, and then who's favored to win the Sun Belt. They won their division last year. Got a returning quarterback. And then after that we play Liberty, and we all know what they did last year, playing in the New Year's Six. Then after that UTSA. So it is a very tough 4-game stretch. That when you just look at it at a glance, you go Old Dominion, App State, Liberty, UTSA, and it doesn't sound that tough, but it really is a 4-game stretch that won't determine our season, but I think it will determine if we're just fighting for a bowl game or if we're fighting for more. Whether it's just going to be we're fighting for 6-6, 7-5, or if we're fighting for a potential, conference championship game. If we're I'm not predicting us to be in the playoff hunt as the Group of 5 representative, but I'm just telling you the opportunity's there. If we're better than expected on offense, because we're a top 25 defense, so if we're better than expected on offense, the opportunity's there with App State and Liberty early to make some noise. So hey, App plays Clemson the week before us. Could you imagine a 2-0 East Carolina just beat Old Dominion? Then a 2-0 App State just beat Clemson in the top 25 coming into Greenville.
Oh man,
it would be packed, sold out, or at least near sold out, and that's just a recipe for somebody to get upset big time right there to me. I hope they upset Clemson the week before they play us. I really do.
I forgot about that matchup. That's a great analysis there, Kyle. In fact, you're spot on as usual about.
Well, you remember they upset A&M a couple
Yeah,
years ago, and then it took a Hail Mary to beat Troy
yeah, I do.
in Boone. So I'm just saying, man, if you pull off an upset like that and App is capable, it's hard to get up the next week, and particularly when you're playing a good opponent like it was 2 years ago with Troy, and in this case, coming to Greenville in a game that is going to be very important to us and our fan base. And to me, I won't say it's a game that Houston needs to win, like a must win, because it's all about what you finish your record overall. But if we could find a way to beat App, that would rejuvenate this fan base big time.
Yes, sir. And speaking of App, Robert says, "Thank you, Robert, for tuning in again." Some podcasts are saying App will beat Liberty, and they're picking Rice, UAB, and North Texas as Bubble Bowl teams.
Okay, Rice, UAB, who else?
And North Texas.
Rice, yeah. North Texas is another one. Robert, you're right. That's another one that first year head coach last year there went 5-7. But the previous head coach, they had just won their division of Conference USA the year before, and they fired their coach. So the first year coach going 5-7, it ain't like he was taking over a down program.
Right.
Seth Luttrell had done an okay job there. So I tend to agree. North Texas, I would put them probably good call. I would put them right there probably in that second tier with East Carolina, South Florida. I would put North Texas right there too. Forget about the Mean Green. They haven't been in the league very long, and we haven't played them yet. We do play them this year. Unfortunately, it's in Denton, Texas, not in Greenville.
Yeah, and
As far as FIU being a bubble bowl team, I wasn't impressed with FAU. I wasn't impressed with FAU at all last year. Obviously, we beat them, but dude's a good coach. Obviously, we all know what he did at Houston. Was up and down at Texas, but you would think, I don't know what kind of NIL money they have at Florida Atlantic. I don't know what they did with NIL this year. I need to look that up. My guess is they probably picked up a few nice pieces, but you would think Tom Herman would have them as a bubble bowl team, so to speak, in year two. But we need to win and beat teams. It doesn't matter. Uh, that's year two for Tom Herman. This is year two or year six for Mike Houston. So we better be handling our business against Florida Atlantic when they come to Greenville.
And speaking of NIL, Kyle, I think that's one of the reasons we talk about with JDB coming along. I think also with NIL, we've been able to do much better. Is my understanding. The people I've talked to say that has really, even though that we're far away from what our potential, our ceiling, if you will, when it comes to NIL. I do believe we're making headway. And, you and I 3 years ago on this show, it was not gloom and doom, but it was like, it's a new era. And, you have to jump on board with the new or you get left behind with the old. And
yeah, everybody's got to embrace NIL, whether you like it or not. We're about middle of the conference now, fifth or sixth,
right.
Seventh, something like that with NIL.
And
we were told, we were told, I don't remember now, but we were told when we had what's his name? I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names. The gentleman from Team Boneyard.
It'll come to me in a minute.
But we had him on. Well, you can't remember. That's bad. You don't remember names. We were told the amount we had this year up to that point for football. It was in the millions, but I don't remember. I remember it was 400,000 for basketball, but I cannot remember the amount for football.
It was over $1 million.
I think it was around 2. It was over 2 million, if I remember correctly.
Well, yeah, and we've got with us, I think it's just a matter of, I'll put this one on the screen too, for baseball, 23club.org. Support your ECU baseball players through NIL. I think.
Yeah, there's an NIL luncheon. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, I missed out.
Yeah, I forget the date. I think maybe August 2019. I don't. Yeah, I should have done my research a little better. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, put it in the comments. There's an NIL luncheon for football. coming up. The proceeds from the tickets are going to go to NIL,
Oh,
and
there it is.
and
It's
they're
the
looking for
Bronco.
a title sponsor also for the event.
Yeah, it's going to be in Minji's Monday, August 19th. I've got it right here, Kyle. I didn't realize the other day when I got this in my email. It's Monday, August 19th. Doors are going to open up at 11:30. Program starts at 12. Save the date. Get this, $50 per individual. It's $500 for a table of 9. That's a player. You get to sit with a player assistant coach. $750 a table with a 9 with a table of 9, and that way you get either Blake Harrell or for the offense JDB. Of course, that's 2 and $1,000 a table of 9. That's what head coach Mike Houston. They also have a $5,000 title sponsorship available. If you want to contact the Pirate Club, that's 252-737-4530. And all funds go directly to, as Kyle mentioned, Team Boneyard. Yep. And tickets will go live on Tuesday. I knew it was coming up. I just couldn't remember what day, but it's Tuesday is when you get your tickets. And check that out, ECUPirates.com or ECUPirateClub.com. So thank you, Kyle. I should have read that closely. I didn't see the I knew about the luncheon, but I didn't know that put 2 and 2 together. So
it was a fundraiser for Team Boneyard. Yeah.
Yeah. So hey, I'm glad that they're doing things that we are doing.
Yeah,
That.
and one thing, and I know there's some laws in North Carolina about 50-50 raffles at sporting events. The Braves do it apparently every game. Bubba was at the Braves game today. He said the 50-50 raffle was $63,000.
Wow.
There's a way to do it. I think you have to have a third party involved in North Carolina.
Okay.
But if we could do a 50-50 raffle at a football game,
Yep.
Let's say the App State game, you got 40 to 50,000 people in there. You sell the tickets for $20 a piece. You sell 20,000 of them. Do the math. That would be what is that? $200,000.
That sounds right. I'll have to.
And if the 50-50 raffle, somebody would walk out with $100,000, and the other $100,000 would go to the to NIL. So I mean, make it the goal to sell 20,000 tickets at $20 a piece, and somebody's going to walk out with $100,000, and the other 100,000 goes to NIL. If you don't reach your goal, then it's less money, and maybe you sell over 20,000. But I mean, that is a hell of a night. Somebody would walk out with life-changing money.
Yeah, Kyle from LaGrange is like, drinks for everybody. Not.
Hey, walk out with $100,000. Drinks for everybody I give a shit about.
Well, here's an interesting thing. Robert's been participating heavily. Thank you, Robert. Once again, Holton Ahlers making an announcement on Pirate Radio tomorrow, supposedly about NIL. Not sure, though. I hadn't heard about that, but
Holton make an announcement.
Yeah.
Well, he's not buying. So if he's sponsoring somebody or an announcement on his show about NIL coming from Team Boneyard or
yeah, put that back up. I guess so. That's all he had. So Robert, we learn we have the best listeners and viewers. They keep us informed. So thank you. I have not heard anything about that, but not saying it's not true. I just haven't heard about that. But if anybody knows, then put it up there. Sure. All right. And Johnny Stats, you know how much we love JR, Kyle. Here he is, just for you, Kyle. That would be 200,000, as you're correct, Kyle, and 200,000 at $20 times 2,000. There you go. So 2,000. All you need is 2,000 people to give $20. Is what he's saying, right?
I guess that doesn't sound right, but no, that doesn't sound right. We're making ourselves look like idiots here.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's hard.
Hold on one second. I'll get this. Hold on.
All right, Johnny, help me out, bro. 200,000 at $20 each. $20 each times 2,000. So, yeah, that's not right. 20 times 2,000 will be 40,000, right? So
correct. Yeah, it's 40,000.
Okay. All right. So yeah. Trying to do the math as we're doing live.
I think he's telling me. I think he's saying I'm correct on the 200,000 at 20,000 tickets. 20,000 times 2,000. I think he's using a simple math formula, and we're complicating it.
Yep. All right. So JR says it would be a 2,000 net gain, not one. Is that
Yeah, Johnny, I think what you're saying is making sense, but you're talking over our heads somehow.
Yeah, he's the
So,
math guy.
yeah, so
I went to East Carolina, Johnny. Come on, give me a break, JR.
yeah.
JR is the best. We appreciate him. And I tell you what, Kyle, the enthusiasm I've been surprised about what is on the number of people. Not that Pirate Nation doesn't travel well. Let me say that. So it's not. I'm surprised there. But there's a lot of people, man, that are going to ODU, Liberty, or both, like JR, myself. I don't know how many road trips. I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago, but I know on the western part of the state, Bubba, and a lot of people are on that side of the state. They're going to, I mean, that's probably going to be the hardest ticket that Charlotte has had in the history of their football program.
Yeah, they didn't even sell it out for Duke, if I remember right. So,
No.
no, that'll definitely be a sellout, a hard sellout. It'll
Can
be a
you
tough
see like
ticket to get.
8,000 people?
I
Pirate
could see
fans?
us having just as many, if not more, fans than Charlotte, and
Yeah.
that'll be an interesting environment. I would I hope we win that day. That's I don't know. You know, their student. I don't imagine they have too many diehards, but their students, I'm sure, are going to be running their mouths if they have any success against us or talking trash at the beginning of the game. So that'll probably be a very interesting environment at the stadium there, and they are expanding their stadium. They got the money from the state somehow to do that, and still not sure about how that worked,
Me
but
too.
they'll be expanding their stadium. I think to 25,000.
That's
So
from
something,
15 to 25, right?
yeah. So which I'm glad they're expanding their stadium. It's embarrassing to me to have them in the conference with a 15,000 seat stadium, but I'm still not sure how it came from the state, the finances to do so.
Well, that's exactly that. I mean, they need to give us definitely a donation, give us money, a grant or something,
To
because
finish, to finish the indoor practice facility.
exactly
If they can use state money to build their
3 million.
stadium,
We're just asking for 3 million for the General Assembly. I mean,
just build the son of a bitch with the money you got now, Gilbert. You got enough money to build the damn thing. Just
I have.
just cut some costs somewhere and build the stupid thing.
You would not believe. I wish that the folks that are in the Ward Sports Medicine building, and again, Kyle, myself, others, we actually like them a lot. So it's not like we have a personal vendetta against them. So I want everybody in the Ward Sports Medicine building to know that we actually like them. However, Kyle and myself will be pirates when we die. And everybody that comes on the show, whether they're a co-host or the listeners and viewers. And so I'm hearing, you would not believe, Kyle, at work, friends of mine like yourself, others who've said that over and over again. David, they're asking me, when are they going to break ground on the indoor practice facility?
Just build it. They've
I
got
said I
enough
would have
money
done
to
that
build it. If you can't
last year.
figure out how to build something for slightly cheaper than what you budgeted, then money now needs to be going to NIL.
Yeah.
We need to get this stupid indoor practice facility built and then concentrate on NIL.
And we're very close on the baseball facility. I mean, that's another thing is those two projects. If you go ahead and put the shovels out, the euphoria from the people, the excitement from the fact that, wow, Kyle, we're actually starting to break ground. And then all of a sudden those donations and you have a big fundraising drive. Let's finish off it's like in church. I think I mentioned this before. I'll say this again. It's been a long time. But I remember many years ago, we had a thing at church where they actually it's called something like finish off the note party. And you get like a lot of the big people, the contributors of the church and of course the congregation together. And you may need 50,000 or 100,000 and what can you pledge? And so that's exactly what we need to do here. We need to go ahead and get the shovels out. And then you have this big party. Let's finish it off. Do you do something online? I don't know, but something.
I'm just saying build it for the money you have now. Screw the other $3 million. You got enough money. Just scale back what we're going to do and build the damn thing. But, people can't, far as getting people motivated, the motivation for NIL is going to be this year. To me, with the money that was put into NIL last year, if it shows success, if we win 7, 8, 9 games this year, I think that'll motivate people to give to NIL going forward because they see the the proof's in the pudding, so to speak.
Right.
Bringing in XYZ worked, so they'll continue to give the NIL. And I pretty much think in this current environment, the only way you're going to be successful in college football going forward, to whatever level you're playing at, is to give to NIL. And we got to be competitive with other American conference schools. We got to be competitive with Sunbelt and Conference USA schools and lower tier, ACC schools
Right.
because those are the people we're going to be competing against for players.
No doubt. And Kyle, with the it's
And and I'm sorry, let me cut you off again, but with Hauser, we competed against Boise State. That was the competition for him. So, it's another group of 5 school, but somebody totally outside the region.
Yeah, I think with when you look at NIL, it's the future of our sport. If you love college football, then it's the future of our sport. So we've got to come up with. We have to be creative. It doesn't matter how we feel about it. The bottom line is that's where we're headed. So those of you that are just saying there's no way in the world I'm going to ever give an NIL, Kyle and I both said from the jump, the first week, he and I want to win. He and I want to win as
Well,
Pirate
to
football.
me, I look at it like this: why do you give to the Pirate Club? Well, your initial reaction is because I love ECU, but you want to be successful, particularly most people in football.
Right.
So, to me, you just have to view it the same way. You got to view giving to NIL the exact same way. You're doing it to be successful in football. Yeah, it would be nice to see some loyalty from some of these kids, and we have. Look, the DB, the All American.
Rebel.
Yeah,
Ravel.
was offered $300,000 to go to the SEC. Now Igo said the other day he's the highest paid player on our team now, so he's probably getting over 100,000 from us. But still, you're turning down 300,000. Let's say he's getting 100,000. I don't know what he's getting. Let's say he's getting 100,000 from us. That's still a $200,000 pay raise you turn down.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know what he's getting from us, but if he's the highest paid player, it's we got 2 million in NIL. It's got to be over 100,000.
And I think that another thing, Kyle, is that you pointed out a long time ago that these players, just because you go to the SEC and you know the money, but I think a lot of these players are really upset about the 2-10 record, and I think that there's a hunger. And I've asked, and I'll ask again in a couple weeks when we start covering the fall camp, and then we have media day coming up. My prediction, media day will be August the 17th, Kyle. So write that down. Hopefully you don't have a concert that night, but I hope you can make it. Missed you the last few years. But
Have we not got an official date yet for media day?
No, but that's usually about around the time. It's usually around that time, that Saturday when they have it. We'll see. They'll probably change it up. It'll probably be the 10th.
Well, it seems like the earlier you would announce media day, the easier it would be to get more media there, particularly from outside the Greenville, Raleigh markets. Maybe people that want to come cover the Pirates from Charlotte or Norfolk or Richmond, surrounding areas. Right. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, my point is, I believe that this team, and we can ask a lot of the players, but we all know that our program is better. That we're not a 2-10 program. Pirate Al said on the show last Sunday, by the way, Kyle, that we had a 2-10 season, but we're not a 2-10 program.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have been saying that. Holt Naylor said that. Igo talked about how the biggest thing going for us right now, besides our defense, is our culture, which goes back to program.
Right.
So no, I agree with that. But we're going to have a better offense, and we, like I said, we've put the pieces there. With the question mark being the O line. A lot of returning starters, a lot of experience on the O line, but they were bad last year. Now didn't have a quarterback. From what I understand, Donnie and the O line coach from last year did not get along.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, JDB and the new O line coach here, whose name escapes me right now. From what I hear, they are complete lockstep. They are very familiar with each other. Have a lot of respect for each other. He's got a great resume. So what I hear, he doesn't love recruiting, which that may that may mean he's really good at player development, which at East Carolina for O-line could be good for us. Um, but he has a good reputation as an O-line coach. I like all our staff changes. Really, Magazoo.
Yeah.
Mag's coaching safeties for us. Love having him back.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Kyle, right now, if what we've heard is true from former people, former players, they're saying, and I told you this, but I'm not saying it's me. It's not me saying this, but what we've heard in the offseason that makes you optimistic is that he can put 30 to 35 points a game offensively. If we have 30 to 35 points a game with that defense, as long as we stay healthy, we will be in the conversation for an AAC championship. I didn't say we're going to win it, but man, 30 to 35 points after what we've had last year would be a drastic improvement.
Yeah, Phil Steele said he expected us to have a double digit. What do we average last year? 17 points.
That
So
sounds great.
he said a double digit increase in points. So if you do minimum of 10 points, that would be 27 points a game. So let's say we can get to averaging 30 points a game.
Wow.
If our defense is as good as it was last year, yeah, we'll be very, very good. But time will tell. We got to do it first.
Right.
So, but I do think a lot of the pieces are there.
Yeah, and I was going to say that for those listening right now, there's a lot of people upset, rightfully so, after last year, and they've got a lot of the between the players and coaches. We know that there are people out there. It's a show me state like Missouri, like people will say, and there's people that are going to have to earn that trust, I guess, back, if you will. And so there are a lot of people right now that are kind of wait and see, and I understand maybe lukewarm when it comes to how the Pirates will be, but I really believe the people that follow the program closely. And then I was really shocked when we learned about Phil Steele's prediction. I really didn't expect that, even though I knew we were going to be better.
I kind of had a hunch when I saw his all conference team and the amount of players we had on the all conference team because it came out first
Okay.
that he was going to be kind of bullish on us, and he is. Having, like I said, most improved team in the country. He actually has us picked fourth or fifth in the league, but he does that in terms of what he considers to be the best teams. He didn't really factor in the fact in the order when you look at the predicted order of finish. That's really not factoring in the fact that we don't play three of the teams that are above us. So
Right. That
that's
helps.
what that's why I'm saying. And like I said, one of us sits the power rankings call for us to go 10-2. So not that Phil Steele's the end all and be all of college football, but if all six of us sits the power rankings call for you to go to a bowl and you're on his number one most improved team, and you don't have a winning season, that would be an anomaly, a huge anomaly.
Yeah. I don't know that, and I don't even want to think about that. We have the best fan base. I'm not being condescending, patronizing. We have the best. We really do. We have the best fan base in all of college sports, and I'll put our fan base against anyone in the nation. I'm being sincere when I say that. Our fan base cannot take another 2-10, 3-9, or a losing season. Period. I believe.
Not this, we got to have a winning season.
Yeah, and I believe we will. I really do. I think the debate. I really believe we're going to be a bowl team. It's just a matter of how many wins. That's what it comes down to me. So that's the fun part, is that I think we'll be over the hump of the bowl kind of team, if you will. It's just which bowl will we be playing for? Is it just barely? Isn't it the Cure Bowl, Kyle?
Yeah, will we be a 6-6 type team going to the Cure Bowl, Myrtle Beach Bowl, or will we be a 7-win team with where a bowl's locked in, but you at least have a winning record instead of going barely 6-6? We're going to be an 8-9 win type team. I think most people with what we brought in, with how good the defense was last year, with the schedule, I think 6-6. Most people see that as it's the minimum this year. And quite honestly, you wonder if 6-6 is even enough. Again, I think it depends on how we get to 6-6. I'm hoping we don't have to have this discussion.
Exactly.
I'm hoping we're 7-8 wins. 9 would be even better. But first things first, Norfolk State, then on the road at Old Dominion, which to me is a very important game. With the three
Yep.
after that, with App, Liberty, and UTSA, that are games very important. But look, same goes for ODU. they play South Carolina the week before us and Virginia Tech the week after. So we're a very important game to them. I'm sure they see it as a must-win for their season.
No doubt. Here's a question from former ECU pitcher John White, going back to when you were talking about if there was a 1-5 start. He said, I don't see that, but would there be a midseason firing of the coach? He says, I'm way more optimistic than that, but would that happen? So if we go 1-5, does Gilbert pull the trigger?
I don't see that happening either, but that would be a loss to Charlotte, I believe, because let's see, let me count my games. That would be a win over Norfolk State, a loss to Old
Right.
Dominion, a loss to App, a loss to Liberty, a loss to UTSA. Yeah, that would be a loss to Charlotte after that. That might get him fired. That might
Well,
get him fired.
I could tell you,
So,
I could tell you one thing. I could tell you one thing. After what we went through last season,
he would really need to beat Charlotte. Let's say a 1-4 start. Then who was
yeah,
that? John White.
yeah.
Let's say a 1-4 start,
But
and then he turns it around and beats Charlotte. No, then I think we could get on a roll. But yeah, if we're 1-4 and then we lose to Charlotte, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they'd fire him, but there'd be a lot of calls to fire him.
heat, a lot
I
of
don't
heat.
think that's going to happen though.
No, I believe that we've talked about this before, Kyle, but you have the Liberty game and the App game. I think one of those. I feel good about the UTSA game because it's home, but I think the App and Liberty, those two games, we're going to win one or the other. We're going to lose one, we'll win one. I don't see us if we win
Well,
both those games. Man,
if we lose them both, we're still all right. I mean, I don't want to lose them both, but
right.
if we beat, look, ODU is people need to overlook that game. ODU was the bowl team last year. They were 6. I got news for everybody. Don't I bet you ODU is going to be a 1 to 3 point favorite in that game. So ODU was a bowl team last year. They've had some nice wins at home. They beat App up there last year in an upset. They've upset Virginia Tech and Norfolk twice. So that's not going to be a cakewalk. But let's say we do get past ODU. That App game to me, you talk about a game that could excite the fan base, rejuvenate the fan base. If you could find a way to beat App week 3,
Be
um, yeah, and even if you lose to ODU, look, we could lose to ODU and beat App the next week. I know people are going to
yeah,
turn their head at that, but hey, like I
it's
say, ODU
possible.
beat App last year. It is totally possible. Let's say the Pirates lose a close one to ODU. ODU's a bowl team maybe again this year, and Appalachian just beat Clemson, and Pirates just lost to ODU, and App's flying high, and they just upset Clemson. They're on top of the world. They're not. We're going to go kick East Carolina's ass again. So, uh, you know, wouldn't shock me really. I don't want that to happen. I want to take care of business against ODU week 2, but if we lose a close one to ODU, don't count out that game. That one's at home, and it should be a pretty good environment. 4 o'clock kickoff. Wish it was a night game, but it's pretty close. Second half will be at night.
I'll tell you one thing. If somehow, some way, I feel good about the Norfolk State game, and you're right about ODU, that's going to be a real dogfight. I see that obviously as a 50-50 game. That's not a cakewalk, but somehow, some way, like you said, Kyle, you start out 2-0. Man, that App game, not only for the rivalry that it is from way back in the day, the Southern Conference days, but the fact that it's a home game. You want to talk about a team, and the emotion from it being
And they've beaten us twice in a row.
yeah,
And they've just really, quite honestly, as I've stated on this show, and I'd like to hear, other people state it more publicly, they've stolen our identity. Now, is it, have they come out and, mocked us or anything like that? No. But what we used to be was the football school in North Carolina. We were the school that would go knock off Power 5 teams.
giant
We
killer.
we were well, I don't like that term, but if you want to use it, we were the school that was competing for conference championship, winning back-to-back conference USA championships, beating the ACC schools, et cetera. Now it's been App. App's been dominating the Sun Belt. They, forget the Michigan game. That was way back when they were FCS 1AA. But they've beaten Texas A&M. They've beaten South Carolina. They've beaten North Carolina. They've done all these things in recent years that we normally do. They're a consistent winner. They've kind of stolen our identity, and we need to get it back. And we have the opportunity to do that this year in Greenville to become again, the football school in North Carolina, because with all due respect to NC State, they can't decide if they're a football or basketball school. So we need to take care of business somehow, some way against App this year.
No doubt. And something, there's nothing wrong. We can give our props to App State, and they
Great program. I have a lot of
have a great
respect for them.
program. We have a lot of respect for them, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to win that game. I think that, like I said, I could be wrong, but what I'm hearing is there's a lot of players, Kyle, that they have a really, I hate to use the term, but they have a really bad taste in their mouth. They are a much better team than they showed last year, and
I would imagine the way the defense played versus the record we have, and all the guys are turning back on defense. That defense should come out with a bad, nasty attitude, and if they get any kind of support from that offense, you could really see that defense flying around this year.
Yeah, and some people say about the Norfolk State game. Let me ask you this, Kyle. What are you looking for? I know it's game one, and we've got to wait. We've got way more than a month. What are you looking for when you go to that game, and you got your drink in your hand?
It's really not way more than a month. It's just a little more than a month out now.
Yeah, but
I would have been looking forward to that game. Look, Norfolk State's been horrible the last couple of years. One of the worst programs in FCS. They do play a game before us. They play week 0 on August 24th. They'll be playing on ABC. Don't ask me against who. I cannot remember right now. Maybe Alabama A&M. I don't know. I looked earlier and I've already forgotten. But that game will be on ABC. It's the HBCU kickoff game. They will have a game under their belt. That's the one thing to their advantage. Your most improvement is they always say between game 1 and game 2. But what I look for in that game, I look for us to be dominant defensively. Offensively, I would expect us to keep it pretty simple. Make sure we do our routine stuff. I don't expect us to show a lot of our hand unless we have to. I'm sure we're going to save that for ODU the following week. But what I would like to see, you would hope the offensive line could be dominant in that game against a bad FCS opponent. So I would like to see that. I'd like to see us be able to run the ball consistently against them. I'd like to see us really show our tempo. I don't want us to show too much of what we're going to do on offense, but I would really like to see the tempo that we're going to run because you got to get in game condition. You can practice that all you want to, but we need to be able to go fast against ODU week 2. So we need to get that going against Norfolk State week 1. So to me, that's important to see how well we are able to execute that tempo because that's going to be a big part of this offense is getting plays off fast. On defense, I would expect dominance. Like to see, who's going to be, the playmakers on offense. You would expect it to be the kid that transferred from Florida State that was at West Virginia. Wilson, I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Names are not my strength. But the kid that transferred from Florida State that was at West Virginia prior to that, Winston Wright Jr.
Yeah.
You would expect him to be a playmaker for us. Year 2 for the kid that transferred here from Colorado was our best receiver last year. Huh?
Chase Sewell.
Sowell. Yes, Sowell.
Well,
Sowell, another guy that's going to be a playmaker for us. So I'd like to see us get the ball in playmakers' hands, but against Norfolk State in simple plays. I don't want us going too deep in the playbook, but get the ball in playmakers' hands. Rajay Harris, this is going to be year 2 of him coming back from his knee injury. Can Rajay look like he did his freshman year and at times during his sophomore year? Can Marlon Gunn take the next step?
JBS Bonds.
Yeah, Bonds also, a lot of speed. So these are things I'll be looking for in game 1.
I'll tell you one thing. By the way, you were correct, sir. It is Florida A&M on ABC, 7:30 on the Saturday night before our game. So you got it right. And I forgot, but they are the green and gold. So the green and gold is going to be coming to Greenville to take on the purple and gold. So that'll be interesting to say the least. And I'll tell you one thing. Another thing that I'm looking for, Kyle, this is what I was thinking you were going to say, but if I'm Coach Houston, I want to get your thoughts on this. And then I've got a comment from James to post up here for you, your buddy James. But if I'm Coach Houston, don't you play both quarterbacks in the game 1?
It depends. Igo has said, I don't know if this is coming from JDB or I'm assuming it is. that he would expect a starter to be named about 2 weeks before the end of fall camp, and they don't. He doesn't anticipate rotating quarterbacks. But against Norfolk State,
I'm just saying, not rotating quarterbacks.
in Norfolk State, you would expect us to be in a situation that we would play both quarterbacks, because you would expect us to win that game going away.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, I would say so. At the same time, it's game one. You want your starter to get as much experience as he can. But yeah, I would expect against Norfolk State, we'll see both guys.
All right, here's your buddy James. He said he'll trade you Kentucky for Norfolk State.
Yeah, they have an up with Kentucky. Southern Miss does in Lexington. They upset Kentucky a couple years back, but Southern Miss has been down the last couple of years, like we have, and picked towards the bottom of the Sun Belt again this year. They got Florida State's quarterback that played in the championship game, the ACC championship game. He transferred in, so I think Southern Miss will be better this year, but I don't think they're ready to upset Kentucky.
And Robert says D-line players high on offensive line transfer Darius Bell, two-time first-team FCS, and tight end Craig Kelly, slight injury this spring. He played in 35 games at Ole Miss and a few at Oregon last year.
But tight end, and he caught a lot of touchdown passes at Oregon. What limited time he played. Very talented tight end. The kid that he's talking about, the O-lineman, is from Maine. He looked very good in the spring. We're also bringing in an O-lineman that started for Charlotte 2 years ago, who played at Conley.
Panda Askew.
Yeah, he will be joining the team in August. He's got some academics to clear up at Charlotte. And look, by the way, for any of our listeners, just to be clear, if you're not that anybody said anything, normally Bubba's here to pick up the slack on names, so it's not as noticeable. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I can tell you all these guys' backgrounds, but as Dave can attest, I will forget guest names and literally have to look at the chyron here on the screen to remember their names. I do not process people's names. It's just something I am horrible at. When I'm sitting here, I just want our listeners to know, when I'm struggling with people's names, believe me, I know what the hell I'm talking about. Like I said, I couldn't think of Winston Wright Jr. yet. I transferred from Florida State. Before that was at West Virginia, all Big 12 at West Virginia. Got into a car accident. That's what limited his playing time at Florida State. Right. But if that kid is up to what he was, if he gets back to what he was at West Virginia, he will be a stud here.
Think about JDB's offense with the skill players. Man.
And I expect we would play him in the slot. If you remember, this offense is going to be similar to Riley's offense. And if you remember, the slot receiver gets most of the touches in this offense.
No doubt. And
so if you got him in the slot and he's up to, let's say he's 80% of what he was at West Virginia when he was all Big 12. If you got him in the slot and you got Sewell outside, along with a couple other receivers, we could be pretty good on offense with a friggin' quarterback. And then, the tight end situation, despite losing homie to Texas A&M, we've got some depth there, particularly with the transfer from Oregon that was at Ole Miss before that. And the kid catches a lot of touchdown passes. I think he had like 8 touchdown passes at Oregon in limited playing time this past year.
Oh, God. James is killing you, man. Let me put this up here so you can respond. He said James has known you for almost 20 years. He's got Alzheimer's when it comes to people's names.
No shit. No, he's right. And the chemo didn't help with that. But I am horrible with people's names. That's always been the case.
As we mentioned that Winston Wright Jr. was a high caliber kick returner too.
Yes,
absolutely,
he was.
He's the one that I was going to mention. He's.
I don't know that I'd have him returning kicks coming off the injury from 2 years ago with the wreck. But yes, if he's 100%, maybe. But yeah, he. You may want Bond to do that. But yeah, he was a good kick returner also at WVU.
And by the way, I've got some intel for you, Kyle.
Right.
You were talking about Panda Askew. He's going to be with the team in fall camp. He has 2 years of eligibility, and I was talking to someone who knows that family. So I had a little bit of intel for you. I want to talk about tonight. So I'm glad you brought him up. Apparently, for these folks have said that
And I believe he's going to be a walk-on.
he may be. He actually is someone that wants to finish his career locally because when he went to Charlotte, apparently the inside the locker room, we'll just say it that way, is very toxic. And so when he came here and he's with the coaches and everything, and the players have really accepted him. He's a local kid. It's apparently a night and day difference between Charlotte, where it's toxic, and where it's more like a family. And we talked about the program. He's extremely happy and ready to join the team. Again, it looks like it's going to be the first day of camp that he'll be. I don't know if it's eligible, but he'll be. Like
Yeah,
you said,
he wasn't able to come before now because he had to finish up some academics at Charlotte. So I'm assuming the second summer semester ends at Charlotte. Probably middle of July. Probably just ended. It probably just ended.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
hopefully he'll be here the first day of camp, which is July 31st when they report. But if not, maybe it'll be soon thereafter. As long as he's here by the second week of camp, he should be good. As long as he's been keeping up his physical conditioning during this time.
Yeah, he's been working hard on. I do know that he's been working hard, I believe, by himself, or obviously can't be with a team. But in other words, he's not just been lying around doing absolutely nothing.
And he started at Charlotte. He didn't start last year because Biff brought in all the Power 5 transfers, but he started at Charlotte prior to that. I wouldn't expect him to start here, but I would expect him to be in the 2 deep. He's definitely more than a warm body. A kid with starting experience at the FBS level, and a local kid. Glad to have him.
Yeah, no doubt. And we want people. I said this about work, but obviously with ECU, we want people that want to be Pirates. And we've got a lot of people. And I'll tell you one thing. We talked about it last year. Winning cures everything. Yes, we had the bad season last year, but if we have that turnaround like we are capable of, and we're hearing about, and everything that's on paper, then guess what? Then everybody's going. More season tickets are bought. The bowl tickets are bought. And Robert says, chiming in about Panda Askew, he said, toxic locker room at Charlotte makes sense. Over 50 transfers, and it's where Omega Blake ended up. Yeah.
Wow.
Poggi is trying to microwave the situation, and I will.
Well, in this day and age, honestly, I don't even know that that's fair to say anymore, because of NIL and the transfer portal, like it was when Ruffin was here. But yeah, he's taken and I think he took last year he took he took a bunch more transfers this year.
Yeah, he did.
Out of the portal. So I don't know. They beat us last year. They shouldn't have. The most annoying game of the season to me last year. I hated that game.
10-0.
10-7, if I remember right.
10-7, you're right.
Yeah.
It was 10-0.
We had a chance to tie the damn thing at the end. Missed the field goal. Or do we throw a pick? I don't remember what the hell happened. But we lost the son of a bitch.
Oh my God!
We were driving on them at the end of the game. I remember that. So Will made a couple of big catches, and they were. Did we throw a pick? I don't remember what happened. I remember, or did it end up being a long field goal? We had it set up for a short field goal, and I wanted to play for you. We threw a pass and got sacked or threw a pick. I don't remember. If somebody can remember exactly what happened at the end of that game, I can't remember if we missed a long field goal, but there was a pass play that I was surprised we did. We should have just been trying to set up a short field goal. We would have beaten them in overtime. I was behind the Charlotte bench, and piss was running down their legs. They were scared to death. If we'd have sent that game into overtime, we'd have won it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. There's sometimes when you know that you've got to win it in regulation, at the end of regulation, there's
when you're on the road at Florida.
We threw a pick.
Yes. All right. Okay. Because we were setting up a short field goal. Ruffin, if you remember when we were driving on Florida about to tie the game up, and Ruffin said after the game, that we were going to go for 2. yes, that's a situation where you need to win the game right then. You don't want to go to overtime.
Not with
But
Florida.
when you're at home playing Charlotte, yeah, that's a situation we should have played for overtime.
No doubt. I tell you what, it's exciting to think about the season. And Kyle, you and I have been following Pirate football for a long, long time. And this is, it just feels like, I know that obviously we got to get our players to fall camp, but as a fan, this has been the longest, quote unquote, off season ever because I'm just jacked up. Man.
I disagree with you a little bit. I mean,
Really?
maybe I was distracted so much with medical stuff, getting ready for my hernia repair surgery.
Okay.
I am other things before that. I really, normally my excitement for football kicks in about spring practice time, and I'm fired up all the way through summer. But I really didn't start getting fired up for football until sometime in June, and so it's really kind of sneaking up on me how fast it's coming that the guys are going to report to practice next week. Media Day. The American, we haven't discussed that yet,
Yeah,
Dave.
let's talk about that.
American
Yeah.
Athletic Conference Media Days start
Start tomorrow.
tomorrow with the majority of it being Tuesday. I believe it is going to air. I believe it is.
Is it ESPN Plus?
It is on ESPN Plus. I believe it's 9 Eastern, 8
That
Central.
sounds right.
It's
Yeah.
going to air live Tuesday with our friend Rennie Angoli. Rennie and God Almighty, that just shows you how bad I am at names. Rennie Angoya, he's going to be doing it along with a couple other people on ESPN Plus. So tune in Tuesday, I believe at 9 Eastern, and it's going to be live from Irving, Texas. And if any of our fans happen to be in the Texas area, they're asking fans to come out. They said there's going to be giveaways, opportunities to meet the
If I
coaches and
could, I would.
players. There's going to be a kiosk set up with the college football game where they're encouraging fans to come out. So if you happen to be in the Dallas Fort Worth area Monday and Tuesday, come out to American Athletic Conference Media Days.
Well, here's one of the things that Stan. The first.
Do you know? Have you heard who Houston's taking with him?
Oh, I did the other day. Oh my gosh.
We
Man.
got to get our knowledge together, Dave. We can't come
Yeah.
up here and ask
No, I had
ask our listeners to answer these questions.
No, I had
because-
some other stuff I was going to talk about. So, yeah, we can. If y'all can help me on that one, throw us a bone there. I was going to talk about this is only the second commissioner in the history of the league as Mike Oresco retired, and Tim Pernetti will have his very first media day. So I'm looking.
Good point. Yeah, to hear from him. Yeah, good point.
That was my first thing I was going to talk about. And as Mr. James mentions, the Sun Belt Media Days are this week too.
Yeah, Sun Belt Media Days this week. Were those held at New Orleans, James? I'm assuming that's where the offices are.
That'd be a good guess. Yeah, a great town. That's a great city, man. I love New Orleans.
Man, James, ask James what his opinion of New Orleans is.
Oh, he doesn't. James, you don't like New Orleans?
Well, growing up in Hattiesburg, he's been in New Orleans a lot more than you have. He hates New Orleans.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Johnny says Conrad missed a 48-yard field goal with 34 seconds left in the Charlotte game. So
yeah, I believe that's right. What we did, if I remember correctly, we got sacked. That is exactly what happened. We attempted a pass play. We had it in a better field goal range, and then we tried to throw a touchdown pass to Sewell. We tried to catch him off guard and throw to the end zone. We were going to try to throw to Sewell, and we got sacked and had to attempt a 48-yard field goal instead of sitting up. Yeah, it would have already been closer. And if we would have just kept running the ball, we could have attempted a chip shot. And instead, the one time Donnie decided to be aggressive all last year, or Houston, whoever made that call, it was at the worst time possible.
Yeah. James, man, it's nasty. I love the food down there, but the people are just bad people.
He's talking about on Bourbon Street. He's had a lot of bad experiences he's told me about on Bourbon Street, about people trying to scam him out of money, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we were talking about media days, so we have Tim Pernetti. We'll see how he does. I'm sure he's a great speaker, and obviously they made the great choice in our second commissioner.
I don't know if he's great or not. I don't know anything about him, so it'd be interesting to see. I don't even know his background. I think I read his bio when he was hired, and it's gone in one ear and out the other, so to speak. But I'm interested to hear from him, see what he has to say about the future of this league. You know, what his ideas are going forward. There's still a lot of unknown with conference expansion.
Yep.
A lot of rumors, suddenly a lot of UNC to the SEC talk all of a sudden. Washington State, Oregon State. Are they just gonna merge with the Mountain West fully and go under the Pac-12 banner, or are they going to try to rebuild a new Pac-12 with teams from across America? So a lot still to be determined. So would like to hear the new commissioner's thoughts on all that.
And Robert says CFP committee member announced to the Big 12 media that weather, hotels, and ticket sales could affect who hosts the first round playoff games over rankings. The first is already in. So there you go.
The first is already in. What does he mean?
Is he talking about the first round? He's talking about the first round playoffs.
Weather, hotels, etc. Ticket sales could affect the first round playoff games over rankings. The first is already in. I don't understand that.
He's saying the fix is already in.
The fix is already in. Okay. That's interesting. That's very interesting. You hear I believe 1 through 4 gets a bye.
Yeah.
Supposedly. So maybe
you would think that 5 it would be the 5-12 game, the 6-11 game.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? Maybe weather. Hey, maybe you got East Carolina comes in as the 12 seed when we go 11-1 and win the American and represent the group of 5 and we're paired with the 5 seed who is maybe I don't know, Wisconsin. And it's going to be very snowy up at Camp Randall, so they have to travel down to Greenville.
Sounds good to me. And by the way, Kyle, the last game of the regular season is home against what
Navy.
team?
Yeah, I've never beaten Navy in Greenville, but I don't ever remember closing the regular season with Navy in Greenville.
I don't either. You're right.
Maybe 1 year under Scotty. Maybe. It was late 1 year in November. I don't know if we closed the season with them.
I don't remember the last game. Yeah, I don't remember playing them. Usually it feels like we play them in October or maybe late.
We play them in November quite a bit, but it's never been the last game. Not here. We have up there. We played them up there as their last game of the regular season.
Okay.
We beat them on a last-second field goal up there with their last game of, not counting Army, their last home game. But we're due to beat them in Greenville. So I tell you what, you ain't kidding. The last game of the year in Greenville, whether we got 6 wins, 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins, we need to win that game.
If we win that game, I can see Kyle tearing down the goalpost.
I'm not. I might tear down the goalpost if we don't win it. But no, we definitely need to beat Grave. It is ridiculous that we've never beaten Navy in Greenville. Never lost to Army, never beaten Navy. Let's beat them both this year, but wouldn't be surprised if we reverse those scripts if we lose that Army and then beat Navy in Greenville.
So James is obviously a Southern Miss guy. He said that'll be my luck. We got to Omaha first, and you'll get to the playoffs first.
Hey, I'll take it. You know what? It's only fair.
Hey, look, I love East Carolina. So if we get the playoffs first, we're going. And by the way, I had to mention this. Kyle.
I don't think it's going to happen. But God Almighty, could you imagine the excitement around here if we made the playoffs? I mean, there'll be excitement around here if we just, go 8. Well, 7 people will be happy, but 8 and 4 people will be excited.
Yeah, 9 and 3. Kyle, can you imagine this? By the way, I want to mention this too. A sidebar. We've been talking about football. There was a stat that came out.
A salad bar?
A stat.
You said something about a bar. I thought you said something about a salad bar.
No, a stat came out.
Oh, you said sidebar. Okay.
A sidebar. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So a sidebar for you this week. I saw where East Carolina. You probably saw this too in baseball. For all our baseball fans, it was hating.
Yeah.
We have the 3rd most wins. I think is it since 2018? 200.
I think it was even further than I think it was the last 10 years.
Yeah, 274 wins, which is 3rd in the whole nation.
And our buddies, since James is here, Southern Miss is 6th.
Yep, that's true. But I
So
thought that
yeah,
was really cool.
oh, it was great. The problem is we haven't been to Omaha yet, and that's what gets people upset. And obviously, the amount of people we had hit the portal this year with the amount of graduates we have
Yep.
is very concerning. It is very concerning. We've got to get some NIL money in here for baseball, and coach has got to embrace the portal a little more. Now, one thing that should help with recruiting and the portal, even without NIL money, is the amount of players we got drafted this year. We set a record, I believe, for the amount of guys we got drafted this year.
Yeah, a
So,
lot. And as John White says, a guy that should know, as you know, Kyle, he was a pitcher under Coach O.
right.
Huge rebuild year. Absolutely, John. And I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
You know something? It seems like as East Carolina fans, and Kyle, you've mentioned this before. I'm gonna give Kyle credit on this, but I'll this rebuild year where there's no expectations for the
You're referring
Pirates.
to baseball.
Baseball, yeah, sorry. A huge
There's always expectations. So the expectation, even in a rebuild year, is for us to win the American.
Right. No. I know that. What I'm saying is legitimately getting there to Omaha when we're just like, oh, okay, this is a rebuild year. And then the years that we are, like, oh, we've got like every college all-star on the team, and then it just doesn't happen. It does hurt. It does hurt. And I hate hearing from national media, yeah, they're the program that's been more times in a regional that has never made it to Omaha.
Well, it's true. I mean,
I know.
it's true.
I
I
know.
mean,
I know it's true.
in a way, it's a compliment because you've been to that many regionals, and look, Cliff's not responsible for all that.
30
But Billy and Coach Overton had their opportunities to get us to Omaha, didn't do it. Coach Claire didn't have very many opportunities, but
Amazing.
amazing. Hell yeah, don't let Randy off the hook.
He just retired from West Virginia.
Yeah, not a good coach. But I but the point is, it's true, and it's annoying, and you feel like Coastal was the second most, and then they went and won the damn thing. So we'll get there one day. I think it's going to get harder and harder as the NIL money is now starting to trickle into baseball more and more.
Yeah, we got to get our numbers up.
Yeah, we got to honestly, and I know you. Look, basketball, we were at 400,000. It's not enough to make a difference. We always suck at basketball. So give that 400,000 to baseball. It would make a difference in baseball.
Look, hey, you know as well as I do, there's so much interest in baseball that I could easily see over $1 million for the.
We're nowhere near there, man. We're nowhere near there.
We're not. I know we're not, but
we don't even have the money for baseball we do for basketball.
I know, but we meaning not us, because we promoted the heck out of it, starting with Bubba, but our show has promoted the hell out of it. But if you don't watch our show or listen to our show, 23 Club, people they don't know about it. I've told so many friends and so many fellow fans.
I think it's almost confusing though when you already have Team Boneyard. Though 23 Club, I know is basically the baseball arm of Team Boneyard.
Yep.
I think having different names for things confuses people, and I get 23 Club is a cool thing, but I would just use one banner as Team Boneyard. I think it becomes too confusing when you promote things under different brands like that.
And of course, you can join the Pirate Club 252-737-4540, or you can go to simply ecupirateclub.com. And I tell you what, we're at a point now, like we talked about, the indoor practice facility, the baseball facility. Please go ahead and make that donation to Pirates Unite. I'm tired of talking about the fact we need $3 million. Seems like we've been at $3 million for one of our friends.
Yeah, and you've promoted 23club.org, but as football season approaches, we still need more money just straight NIL. So teamboneyard.com. You can join for as little as $10 a month. And we need, look, quite frankly, if you can pay $100 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever, but anybody can afford $10 a month. If you can't afford $10 a month, let me know. I'll spot you $10. I mean,
$10 a month is
it's not even a fucking meal or excuse me, I try not to use that one. It's not even a freaking meal at Bojangles hardly anymore. So you can't even get like a Supreme dinner for $10 hardly. So
Yeah.
just cut out one trip to Bojangles a month and join Team Boneyard if you're not a member already. And if there's a philosophical reason you don't want to give the NIL, if it keeps you from giving, give the $10 a month. You let just pretend like it's you're buying a pack of cigarettes. I don't know, whatever your habit is.
Well, and another thing too is the very fact of Kyle and I are very competitive as people, and the fact of the matter is, whether we like NIL or not, we want to win. I've said that earlier in the show. Said,
How are the
I
rum
want
sales
to
going?
win.
Was it rum or vodka? What's the
Oh man,
what,
they had that at the I know
what's the name of that?
the crushed vodka you're talking about,
Whatever it is that's out that's
the ABC store.
the supposed the ABC stores Eastern North Carolina where the money goes to Team Boneyard.
Really cool.
So
And we appreciate all the people at Sup Dogs for having that crushed vodka. I think that's what it's called, crushed vodka or something like
I
that.
don't remember. We need to have our information together. We'll do better in the future.
Okay. Elliot's joining us now. Hey there, Elliot. Hey, Kyle and Dave. I'm late getting here. How is it?
It's about the end of the show, Elliot.
Yeah, we were getting ready to wrap things up. We'll call for, I tell you what, it's like, speaking of alcohol, we'll make this last call. If you've got a question or comment, go ahead and put that up on the screen. If
What was
not,
Elliot's question? How's the football team looking?
yep.
We'll let you know starting July 31st when they report to camp. But on paper, I think we look pretty good.
Yeah, we've been saying that a lot. Go ahead and get your season tickets. By the way, it looks like we're Kyle going to meet that goal once again of 15,000. And everybody says, well, 15,000 is not big. Well, let me tell you something. If we can sell 15,000 season tickets going 2 and 10, I'll take it. I want to have obviously more than 15,000, but it looks like we're on pace to at least have that. We may go over. Is what I'm
What's our
told.
student allotment?
Oh, is it 6,000? No, it's more than 6,000. 12,000, 10 or 12,000, I think.
Yeah, because you count guest tickets also. You normally
Yeah.
back in the day anyway. You got one student ticket and one guest ticket.
You have to
So
join.
let's say 12,000.
You have to join
So
the Student Pirate Club, and it's the ticket is $50 a year, or that's what it used to be a handful of years ago.
wow, it was free when Jessica attended
That's
the guest
correct. But
ticket.
now that's part of the Student Pirate Club. You have to pay
Well,
$50.
let's say we sell out, student tickets 12,000 and 15,000. Well, there you go. You're almost at 30,000 right there. Makes things a lot easier. So yes, I'd like to get us back close to 20,000 season tickets or
Me
at
too.
20,000 season tickets, but college football attendance has been going. Sports attendance in general has been going down in recent years, and coming off a 2 and 10 year, no Power Five team, no ACC team on the schedule at home. The most appealing home games against App State, with probably Navy being second, and that's Thanksgiving weekend. 15,000 season tickets with 2 and 10 and no Power Five opponent. It's actually not bad at all.
No doubt. That's going to be great. And he says he hopes we have a good quarterback this year and a better offensive line. Amen, Elliot.
I think we got two good quarterbacks. Depends on which one's going to start. O line, got a lot more experience. New O line coach, couple new pieces on the line. I wish we'd have had a couple more, but you know what I mean. It's hard to get O linemen, but the potential's there to be pretty good this year, Elliot.
All right, here's a question for you, Kyle. I know where I was. Positive question as we won. Where were you two during the Peach Bowl, ECU, NC State, way back in the day? So I'll let you go first, Kyle.
Well, I was 11 years old in January 1st, 92, and was not really a football fan yet. But I can tell you where I was. I was my cousin Timmy. His neighbor was a girl named Jennifer, and we were at her house watching a movie, and the game was on in the background on the radio, and I remember listening to it in the background and hearing East Carolina won and being happy that East Carolina won, but was not a Pirate yet. Didn't care about athletics. Did not fall in love with Pirate football until '94. But that's where I was. Dave, are you froze on us there?
Hear me? There, I'm back.
Yeah, Dave, you cutting in and out. All right, guys. I believe. Well, we got
Okay,
Dave.
I'm back. Yeah,
All right.
James is asking how old I was. I was actually 18 during that game. In fact, that game was January 1st, 1992. It was a little over about 3.5 months before my 19th birthday. And I got a ticket, and believe it or not, my best friend and I were in the NC State section. And of course,
So you were there.
I was there. I was miserable. Oh my God, I was miserable because I was going, I can't believe we're down. We are so much better than this. And I was so upset. And then in that fourth quarter, man, I caught all kinds of grief those first few quarters, obviously. And that fourth quarter, it was quiet. It was quiet. I was one of the only guys that was cheering, obviously, and it was really awkward to cheer. But you know what?
I would have been talking mad shit.
All kinds of crazy stuff. I saw a dude that was drunk as a skunk, and that game was like a noon game. And he had a purple, never forget it. He's trying to walk down the stairs of Fulton County Stadium. He had a purple tuxedo on, and he passed out. I think it was sometime in the first or second quarter. There was all kinds of things like that. There's some people that, Kyle, they were good Pirate fans that never even made it to the game because they partied hard the night before. Imagine that in Atlanta, Georgia. And they never made it to the game. They were sleeping when the game was.
Wow. Well, that's
sad.
Well, I guess they were happy with the results.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't imagine making the trip to Atlanta to go to the Peach Bowl and then missing the game because I slept through it.
Probably the biggest game in the history of our program.
Yeah, no doubt, it definitely is.
But anyway, we had a great time, and man, that ride back. It was myself and one of my best friends. We're in a BMW, and we were riding from Atlanta to Charlotte. Let me tell you something. BMWs, nice looking, but especially the back seat, wow, there's no room. There was no room. I can't remember what kind of BMW that was, but that was the worst part of the trip. To and from Charlotte was literally that ride. So anyway, James is saying that I was in Philadelphia in 1776, but was too hungover to sign the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, the Declaration of Independence. I was there. I was there in Philadelphia, right? But I didn't make that. Probably the most important thing.
Dave was in Philadelphia as well. I think James is calling you old, Dave.
Yeah, he is. It'll be all right. It's okay. I'm just happy to be alive, man. I'm 51. I'm happy to be alive, well and kicking. And hey, that's it definitely beats the alternative for sure. Kyle, do you have anything before we wrap this up?
No. Just been enjoying playing the college football game. Yeah, if anybody wants to play, what the hell is my name on there? I think it's Bleeds. I think my name on there is Bleeds Purple 2014. I believe, all one word. Let me double check that. But
All right.
if you wanna play me, add me, and we'll play. We can do East Carolina against East Carolina.
In reference to last week's show, Ernest T. Bass was fired as a crossing guard for throwing rocks at cars, and Malcolm Merriweather was hired to replace him. Ernest already didn't like Malcolm because
he was an English teacher
and challenged him to a fight. So,
That's right. Good recall on that one.
Thank you, JR. That's a great way to end our show. Kyle, man, thank you so much. I'm glad you're doing better. I was going to say that at the beginning of the show. I'm glad you're doing better.
Yeah, getting there. Not there yet, but definitely getting there. Feel a lot better than I did a couple of weeks ago. And hopefully the progress continues onward and upward.
I've had a lot of thoughts and prayers for you, man. Appreciate you very much. And looking forward we got a lot of cool things headed our way for this season. We're working on behind the scenes, which Kyle and I have to talk about. So I'll tell you about that, Kyle. In the meantime, we appreciate you coming on, and we're trying to do shows every Sunday night.
Have we signed the NIL deal with the cheerleader yet? I mean, I know we were talking about it.
You're supposed to keep that a secret.
All right.
Yeah, it was supposed to be on the down low, but yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that behind the scenes. All right. I'll let you be the chief negotiator in that. All right. We'll get out of here before I get in more trouble. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. And as always, go Pirates.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.